Today, I'm going to tell you the story of Nicholas van Rensburg, an incredible man who lived in South Africa at the beginning of the 20th century. He became known as South Africa's Nostradamus because he made impressive predictions about the future. Nicholas was born on August 30, 1862, on a farm near Otos. He had a very long name, Nicholas Peter Johannes Jans van Rensburg. But everyone called him the Seer of Rensburg. He lived in a time without TV or radio, but somehow he knew about all the big events in the world and still predicted the future. As a child, Nicholas went to school but had to return home after just 3 weeks to help his father. Therefore, he grew up without learning to read or write. Even so, he already had the gift of predicting the future. In the late 19th century, the British were trying to take over South Africa, and this led to many conflicts. Nicholas was called up to fight for the Boers in the First Boer War. He could predict the movements of the British, helping his army win several battles. He even predicted when the British were going to call a truce, allowing his companions to prepare. The origin of his visions is quite interesting. He said that one day he saw a bright light in his room, and after that, he began to see visions of the future. After the war, Nicholas married and lived peacefully in a village, but his visions continued. Hey, if you're watching, don't leave without first subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. This is super important so that we can continue to bring incredible stories and quality content to you. With just one click, you help us grow and also guarantee that you won't miss any new videos. So sign up now, activate the bell and leave your like. Let's go on this journey together. Your support makes all the difference. Between 1900 and 1922, he told his predictions to his daughter, who wrote them down. In 1999, these notes became a book that was very successful. One of Nicholas's most famous predictions, made in 1911, said that an archduke would be assassinated, which would result in a great war. And that's exactly what happened in 1914, when Archduke Franz Ferdinand was killed, starting the First World War. Nicholas also predicted the Chernobyl disaster in 1986 and the election of Nelson Mandela in South Africa. He even spoke about the AIDS pandemic, saying that a new disease would emerge in Africa and spread throughout the world, causing much suffering. Although many of his predictions have already come true, some have not yet come to pass. He predicted a third world war that would start in Eastern Europe and involve Russia and Western countries. Nicholas said that this war would bring a lot of chaos and destruction, but after that, peace would finally return. He also spoke about other pandemics that could arise because of environmental degradation and increased contact between humans and wild animals. According to him, humanity would face great challenges, but after much suffering, a time of peace and prosperity would arrive. Even with these frightening predictions, Nicholas van Rensburg's story reminds us that the future depends on our actions in the present. Will we repeat the same mistakes or learn from them to build a better future? Only time will tell. Nicholas left an incredible legacy, and his prophecies continue to be studied. His story teaches us to pay attention to our choices and to always seek a path of peace. Thank you for listening to this fascinating story. If you liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and leave your comment. Your support is very important for us to continue bringing interesting content. Until next time, and remember, the future is in our hands. Nicholas van Rensburg was not just a seer, he was also a man with a simple life full of challenges. After the war, he settled in a rural village and lived modestly with his family. Despite his incredible predictions, Nicholas never sought fame or wealth with his gift. He predicted many important events, but one of the predictions that attracts the most attention is about the Third World War. Nicholas described this war as a devastating conflict that would begin in Eastern Europe, probably involving Russia. He saw in his visions enormous chaos, with many countries being drawn into the conflict. He mentioned seeing a snake without a head or tail, representing global chaos. Although no one knew exactly what this meant at the time, Many believe this vision may symbolize disorder and a lack of clear leadership during the conflict. In addition to wars, Nicholas also talked about natural disasters. He predicted major earthquakes in Japan, which many associate with the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923 and the Tohoku earthquake of 2011. Both caused enormous destruction and loss of life, confirming his visions. He also predicted that many African colonies would become independent, which happened in the second half of the 20th century. Nicholas saw black leaders taking power in several African countries, including the election of Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Another interesting prediction from Nicholas was about health. He spoke of a new disease that would emerge in Africa and spread throughout the world. He described this disease as something that would cause great suffering and death, which many believe to be the AIDS pandemic. Although many of his predictions have come true, there are others that have not yet come to pass. He believed that, after a period of great suffering, humanity would find a time of peace and prosperity. This message of hope is something we can all hold on to, especially in difficult times. Nicholas van Rensburg left a lasting legacy. His predictions continue to be studied and discussed, and his story reminds us of the importance of paying attention to our actions and choices. Are we destined to repeat the same mistakes, or can we learn from the past to build a better future?